This is just a PSA that Congo and Sudan, right? In Congo, the Israel in that situation is Rwanda. And then in Sudan's situation, the Israel there is the UAE. Guess what country funds both of these countries to do their war crimes? America, yes. Right? So America's funding the UAE to do the genocide in Sudan, and America's funding Rwanda, the entire West is funding Rwanda to do the genocide in Congo. So, yeah.
Africa doesn't own their own wealth. It's their wealth, but they don't own it. Western companies own the mines in Africa. They extract the minerals. They set the prices. They ensure that the wealth will never benefit the people whose wealth it truly is. I mean, look at Congo today. Congo produces 70% of the world's cobalt. That's the mineral that powers your smartphone, your laptop, your electric car. Without Congolese minerals, there's no Tesla. There's no Apple. There's no Samsung. Yet the people of Congo remain among the poorest people in the world. Why? Because their wealth is not theirs. It's stolen by Western corporations, by Western companies. The system is kept in place through war. The West doesn't want a stable and independent Congo. That's why they fund proxy wars, why they support rebel groups like M23. They use other African governments like Rwanda and Uganda to do their bidding, to keep Congo weak so that the wealth remains available for plunder. Wallahi, this is a grotesque injustice. It's a grotesque injustice that disgraces the whole world. Congo is a bleeding, open, gaping wound on this earth. Understand this, Africa will never be free until Congo is free. No matter how well any individual African country does, the continent as a whole will remain wounded, mortally wounded, so long as Congo is being plundered. Please understand.
This is what 40,000 child slaves look like while working in the cobalt mines of Congo. They also working in coltan mines and diamond mines as well. Two quick facts. According to the global data, the Democratic Republic of Congo is the world's fourth largest producer of diamonds in 2022. Second fact, the rechargeable batteries to the smartphones, the computers, the electric vehicles, and the vapes are frequently powered by cobalt mined by workers laboring in slave-like conditions in the Democratic Republic of Congo. A lot of folks assume that if they lived back in the plantation times of America, they wouldn't be complicit of the plantation, but just like so many people was consuming tea and sugar and wearing their cotton out of luxury and comfort, a lot of us that use these old devices are also complicit in the modern day slavery happening in the Congo. In this next clip I'm finna play, watch the subtitles of what this Congolese woman is telling you and putting it into context.
Maisha yangu ya mbele ya vita kwa tofauti, juu tulikuwa fa tunalima ile mashamba, tunaleta ile miogo na ile sombe tunakula. Lakini tangu vile bautu balingia mupori, hatupate tena gisi ya kwenda kushamba, ya kuleta ile sombe, na njoo vitu tunakamatisha tu kazi ya kutwanga maiwe. Juu tuone tutapata ile msaada ya kulisha watoto.
And the rebels she was just referencing to, they refer to as the M23 that's backed by the Rwanda and Uganda government. And guess who supports their military efforts? The US, the EU, France, and United Kingdom and other countries should suspend military support to Rwanda as long as it's assisting M23. For the people in the back, when foreign governments go through instability and they have natural resources, who do you think that instability benefits? The American government and all the corporations out west. Think about it. If Congo produces the fourth largest amount of diamonds and they still one of the poorest countries in the world, who does it benefit when they producing, putting all this blood, sweat, and tears and labor into mining diamonds? Y'all remember that Kanye West song? Diamonds are forever. A better question. Why did the occupation state send its director of intelligence to Congo on behalf of a corrupt businessman? Money, 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 money. Here's the impact of why y'all should care about what I'm about to tell y'all in detail. Because of the harsh conditions of diamond mining and the little pay it provides to workers, much of Congo is in poverty. According to UNICEF, the DRC contains over 50% of Africa's water reserve, but 33 million people in rural areas do not have access to potable water. Think about that. Now back to this guy. One of Israel's richest men does his business from a discreet floor in the Israel Diamond Exchange and lives in the nondescript villa in one of Tel Aviv's strapper suburbs. At home, he is little known to the public. But across Africa, his name has long resounded controversially, especially in Congo. Dan Gertler is his name. He's aged 48 and he part of a diamond trading family. He began doing business there in Congo in the 1990s and has since bought lucrative mining concessions, partly due to his closeness to the old people that presided over Congo, the father and the son that was there from 1997 up until 3 years ago, because you know who benefits from instability, and obviously Joseph Kabila, father and son, Lauren, both obviously that was single-handedly making sure and sustaining that old instability. Mr. Gertler's interests in Congo have included diamond, copper, cobalt concessions, some of which sold to Glencore, one of the world's biggest commodities traders.
What you see behind me are the Congolese people being forced to mine natural resources, especially coltan, out of their own free will. And this is being enforced by the militia group of Rwanda and Uganda that is funded by the colonizers, America, Britain, France, and Israel. This is what these people are going through every single day of their lives. This is what's happening. And anyone that refuses to do this, you get either unalived, or if you're a woman or a girl, you're going to be hourly. Like literally, the soldiers take turns to basically assault young women and grown women over and over and over again. In Congo, it's the most unsafe place for any woman and any girl to live there, because of all the atrocities that are happening to them. So this is the reality of the people of Congo. And the world needs to wake up. You guys, we need to talk more about what's happening in Congo, in Sudan, and what's happening around the world, because we have...
When we say in order for Congo to be free, Palestine needs to be free in order for Palestine. Like, it's because it is the same culprit. So there's currently a very deadly genocide for power and control over Eastern Congo, an area that is widely rich in minerals. The M23, which is a rebel group, has been responsible for these killings, dismemberment, sexual assault, displacement of thousands of Congolese adults and children. The UN Refugee Agency states that the DRC is the most complex and long-standing humanitarian crisis in Africa, and it is home to the fourth largest group of internationally displaced people in the world. Palestinian writer and activist actually spoke about what's happening in Congo and linked it to the genocide in Palestine by stating the following. So I want to point out that, in fact, Israel is at the heart of the genocide in the DRC. Israel has been arming and training militias in Rwanda and Uganda to maintain the violent chaos that facilitates Western mineral extractions from Congo's mine. Dig deeper into any atrocity across Africa and you will find Israel. From the Rwandan genocide, Israeli arms dealers boasted about supplying weapons, to the genocidal diamond extraction industry or any other extractives in Africa. And it's really true. One of Israel's biggest export is diamonds. But fun fact, it's important to know that Israel does not have any diamond mines. But you know who do? Congo. Most of these diamonds come from African countries such as South Africa, Liberia, Congo, Ivory Coast, amongst others. These countries are directly linked to the groups committing massacres against civilians in order to obtain diamonds. This has caused the diamond trade in Africa to be called the dirty trade. The jewels are called blood diamonds because the blood of thousands of Africans is shed in order to extract and market them. So again, we see the undeniable link.
We think that Israel now is the best partner Africa could have. I will go to Africa to help liberate the black people. We have our African brethren, the Ethiopian Jews, who are in our society, and I personally work every few weeks to help integrate more and more and incorporate them in our society. I believe this. I believe in Africa. I believe in your future, and I believe in our partnership for this future.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, but do you love Israel? Do you support Israel? So you support Hamas?
Fact is that Paul Kagame is widely viewed in Africa as a Western neoliberal puppet who has essentially turned Rwanda into a colony of the IMF, a colony of Western investors. And he has achieved that. He has achieved the colonization of Rwanda to the IMF and to Western investors through severe suppression of democracy and even the violent elimination of political rivals. He's achieved that through purely autocratic means. The fact is that under Kagame, Rwanda has backed the M23 rebels in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and that the violence that they have caused has dramatically benefited those very same Western investors and multinationals who have colonized Rwanda, and for whom Kagame has collaborated with the colonization of Rwanda, has allowed them, much cheaper and much easier access to Congo's minerals through illegal mining, artisanal mining, smuggling, and so forth. With the chaos and the violence, what you can look at chaos and violence in the perspective of neoliberalism is utopian level deregulation. Chaos and violence is the ideal suspension of any type of regulation or law or rules that investors and foreign multinationals that they have to abide by, that they have to follow. So all the rules go out the window when it's a war zone, when it's a conflict zone. So that gives you free, open, Wild West style access to the riches under the earth, giving them access to what are called now conflict minerals, or blood diamonds, blood minerals. That's what they're trading in. That's what powers your iPhone and your electric cars. And in fact, since the resurgence of violence in the DRC, with the M23 rebels backed by Rwanda and the Kagame regime, mineral exports from the DRC have increased between 15 and 20%. That's a lot, and that's what's on record. That's not even talking about what's not on the books, the illegal, the smuggling, and so on. Companies like Tesla, Apple, Intel, HP, Dell, Volkswagen, BMW, all of them have been accused of sourcing blood minerals, conflict minerals, for their manufacturing. The fact is that Kagame has basically run Rwanda according to IMF dictates, structural adjustment reforms, neoliberal macroeconomic recommendations, and so on. He's hollowing out the public sector and privatizing all state assets, state enterprises, and so forth. He's privatizing them, selling them off to Western foreign multinationals. I mean, one of his top advisors is a former World Bank official, and BlackRock, the largest asset management firm in the world, has partnered with Rwanda's sovereign wealth fund to manage a portion of their portfolio, and BlackRock invested something like $50 million to run infrastructure projects in Rwanda. So they're buying that country. So of course the agenda of the narrative is to obscure all of this, is to obscure the reality that Paul Kagame is a Western colonizer collaborator who has sold his country to BlackRock and to the IMF and to Western private sector power, while also allegedly, with evidence, supporting the M23 rebels to spread violence and chaos and anarchy and atrocities in the DRC for the benefit of those same Western private sector powers. But the narrative is to obscure the reality of Paul Kagame and his regime and their collaboration with colonization and their undermining of their own sovereignty, Rwanda's own economic sovereignty, as well as undermining the sovereignty of their neighbors and the stability of their neighbors. We're supposed to see any Western client tyrant as a hero of democracy, as an icon of progress, an icon of development and stability, who's steering his nation in the right direction. So you see how if you're getting your news from CNN, you have no idea what's going on in the world. You really have no idea. They're not going to tell you all of this. And that's part of what the narrative is about. The narrative is specifically for the purpose of ensuring that you don't get real information, that you only get fake information, so that you never understand the world. They take some elements of fact. This is why you have to first, when you're reading an article, you have to first identify what's the actual information in the article. Very often, it will be just a few sentences in the body of an entire article. There will maybe be just a few sentences that are actual information. And then you have to identify what's narrative, which is going to be most of the article. And then you have to identify what's the agenda of that narrative. And then try to understand what's the meaning of all of that. So like here, the meaning of all of this to me is that the West is losing power in Africa. And so they have to hype up one of the few remaining puppet client regimes that they have, which is Rwanda. Because as I say, most of the people who are going to be going to the CNN website have no idea why they should care about Rwanda. But Rwanda is a geostrategic country. It's an important country. And as we can see by what is allegedly taking place by Rwanda's backing of the M23 rebels, they're having an influence over another country. They're a gateway country for Western companies to access the blood minerals, the conflict minerals in the DRC. So it's a very important country. And it's important for you as a reader to think that it's a great and wonderful, upright, virtuous, democratic, progressive, stable country where the leader is overwhelmingly popular. Even though any other country in the world where a leader got 99% of the vote, it would be immediately laughed at and mocked as a very blatant plebiscite, as a very blatant phony election. But here they actually report it with a straight face.
We need to talk about the silent genocide happening in Congo. The exploitation of Congolese people has claimed millions of lives and the media is not talking about it at all. In fact, around every hour 48 women are sexually assaulted. 6 million Congolese people have lost their lives over the past decade and millions more have been displaced. Also, the Western world can continue to benefit off of Congo's natural resources like cobalt. The land of Congo has the largest amount of cobalt, which is a critical mineral used in technology. Western nations like the US, the UK and France have given military and financial aid to groups in Rwanda and Uganda to invade cobalt-rich areas. And because of these invasions, Congolese people are either killed or enslaved and forced to mine cobalt, which includes pregnant women and children. Genocides and crimes against humanity that take place in Africa are never covered in the media as much as other events.
The thing you need to understand about the silent genocide in the Congo for ultimately natural resources is that not only has it been allowed to continue because those who benefit from the global system of white supremacy and neocolonialism genuinely think that Black and African suffering matters less, they think it's just the natural state of how we exist in this world. But more than that, by orders of magnitude, they genuinely think that their right to comfort and commodities far exceeds Africans' right to life. And that is at the heart of any conflict over natural resources within Africa, which is quite a sizable portion of conflicts within Africa. It's that neocolonialism is willing to do absolutely anyone, kill absolutely everyone, destroy entire civilizations just to raise a fraction of a percent of the outcome of their natural resource extraction. And so the true solution to the genocide in the Congo is making it known that your commodity consumption does not and will never trump anyone's right to life.
Hitler kills 2 million white people. He is the most evil man that ever lived. Leopold kills 20 million Africans. He still does not appear on the list of the most wicked people that ever lived on the earth. There must be something wrong with this narrative. totally something wrong with that narrative. It can be right by day, by night, by numbers, by mathematics, by ethnography. It cannot be right that the whole world watches the massacre of black people and says nothing.
King Leopold came and basically took Congo as his own property. What happened?
The Scramble of Africa was essentially a period between 1884 and 1914, and it's basically when European powers came together at the Berlin Conference. No African leaders were present, by the way.
Of course.
They basically got a ruler, got a pencil, and just divided Africa. Said, you can have this, you can have that, you can have that. And they actually believed, number one, Africans are primitive. It needs to be civilized. And they believed Africa was unclaimed. Imagine there's people there, yeah, just saying the place is unclaimed.
They discovered it.
So King Leopold wanted Congo for himself. His own government opposed him. He really wanted to leave a legacy because at that time the Belgian Empire was fairly new because they just split from Holland. So he wanted to sort of impose a legacy and whatever, and he just wanted to exploit Congo's resources. So what he did was, in 1876, he called another conference in Brussels to propose a holding company for philanthropic work.
That's how they do it, innit? Missionary work.
Exactly. It's under this company he used to exploit Congo. Because he said, we're going to provide humanitarian aid, we're going to stop the East African slave trade.
He would chop off the hands of people. Like, if you're working as a man and you had children, if you didn't bring enough rubber, he would chop off your kids' hands to motivate you to go and get more
And they
rubber.
would sell those hands. There would actually be disagreements as to like, they'll go to a village, they'll be like, this village doesn't have enough hands. And you saw what he did. He exploited people. It was mainly rubber.
Yeah, rubber,
Because at that time, industrialization, the bicycle industry.
Bicycle, cars.
Have you ever seen a devil in person? The Belgian King Leopold II. You can't talk about the Congo without acknowledging the Holocaust that started the exploitation of the Congolese people. In 1885, King Leopold II made the Congo his personal property and named it the Congo Free State. But this state wasn't free at all. He promised to suppress the slave trade, but instead he did the opposite and decided to increase his riches by exploiting the Congo for their natural rubber. He put the Congolese people to work. And if they didn't meet the quotas, they were either beaten, their hands were chopped off, or they were executed. If you refused to work, you were killed. On top of that, to show proof that the ammunition wasn't being wasted, the soldiers were forced to bring back the hands of every person they executed in place of the rubber that they couldn't produce. By 1908, King Leopold II had killed 10 to 15 million Congolese people. Now that's a devil.
Please stop scrolling. If you care about Congo and you want to learn more, please watch this video. Congo is bleeding and we are finally hearing about it. But what we also need to understand is why it is bleeding, what has led us to where we are right now, and who is involved. My name is Annabelle, I'm an educator, and I'm here to do just that, so listen into this series. By now, we would have heard of the atrocities happening with over 2.1 million people enslaved and working in slave-like conditions every day, over a majority of which are children. But we really need to understand is that one of the reasons this is happening is due to the protracted war economy that the DRC is in the heart of. The DRC is in the Great Lakes region. It stands in the center of instability, which is described as a transnational war economy. It's a situation where wealth-seeking government officials can collaborate with rebel leaders and international Western businesses to perpetrate the illicit trading and selling and accumulation of raw material. We need to understand that all three of these parties all have an interest in the DRC. They stand to gain something by preserving the war economy that exploits Congo and its people. So, these ungoverned spaces are naturally endowed with raw minerals, and the warlords who have rose to power during the Congolese civil war and the remnants of the Rwandan genocide have unfettered access to these raw minerals, namely coltan, cobalt, uranium. They mine the minerals and trade it in the legitimate commodity market, which is booming due to the Western green economy. Because all of our businesses are trying to transition into green, they are looking for these resources. Whoever has access to these resources has power. So struggle for control in the coltan mines has been central in the conflict of Eastern Congo. which claimed over 4 million lives in the past decade. So, to put it simply, the people of Congo are dying, are being exploited due to the natural resources that their homeland has. This is due to this idea of a war economy in which access and control over these raw minerals funds the Western economy, allows government officials to tax miners and companies for access, giving them wealth, and allows warlords to have control and trade it on a legitimate market. All of this bleeds Congo dry.
No fish here.
No fish here?
No fish. There is nothing here.
Why?
Because the river has been polluted and all fish has died. You see? Donc avec l'acide, je vous dis que l'acide sulfurique ne laisse rien dans la rivière. Il n'y a même pas de crapauds. There is nothing inside. No life in the river.
All of Serafin Kasongo's fish are dead. He says he farmed them in this pool until acid leaked from a nearby mine here in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He says it killed the plants and that he found the fish floating. It was 8 months ago. He says he can't afford to clean the pools and replace them.
I feel pain because this is how we pay school fees for our children. This is how we always lived. Now they've done this, we have nothing to do.
Next to the pools, Serafin grows cabbages, but they're stunted and inedible. He says the acid spoiled the soil. His neighbours say the same. His community lives near an industrial cobalt and copper mine called KCC. Most of the world's cobalt comes from Congo, extracted at mines like this. They use large quantities of acid to separate cobalt from rock. Rights groups say spills are common and environmental regulation is almost non-existent. This pipe is one of the places that the acid spilled out of the mine. The mine's just on the other side of this embankment. Serafin's farm is about 2 kilometers down this stream, and all of the people that we've spoken to in the communities here whose fish pools, farms and livelihoods were spoiled say they still haven't been compensated. The mine belongs to Swiss trading and mining giant Glencore, which supplies cobalt to US electric car maker Tesla for its batteries. Glencore said it accidentally spilled electrolytes here a month after the acid. Its workers scattered lime to neutralise some streams and rivers, but activists say it was too little too late. Emmanuel Mpula has been researching the impacts of the spills. He says dozens of people's livelihoods have been destroyed, and he's documented cases of coughs, headaches and skin burns caused by the acid, which Glencore denies are connected.
What we are calling Glencore to do is to identify all victims and to find how to repair, how to make compensation.
Glencore told Al Jazeera in a statement that it had tested waterways after the spills and found their pH level to be neutral, that fish likely died for an unrelated reason, and that conditions in vegetable gardens had not been impacted. Emmanuel doesn't buy it.
The good way to save the image is to recognize the problem and to fix it. It's not to hide it.
Millions of dollars worth of cobalt are trucked out of Congo every day. Glencore mines about a fifth of it. It recorded trading profits of more than $3 billion last year. Serafin says he and his family have lost most of their income. There's a handful of big winners in Congo's rapidly growing cobalt industry. Serafin's not one of them. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera.
I hope we all know that Congo is key in the fight against climate change. I hope we all know that we are surviving on this planet thanks to the Congo Basin and the Congo rainforest, the second largest rainforest in the world, the lungs of our planet right now, because the Amazon has been destroyed. So any environmentalists, any climate justice advocates who do not center the DRC when discussing solutions to climate change, do not listen to them. Right now, big oil and big gas companies have descended on the Congo Basin in the DRC, and they want to extract as much oil, as much timber, as much gas as they can, at the expense of the indigenous communities, the Batwa and the Bambuti, erroneously referred to as pygmies by some people. They are not pygmies, they are the Batwa and the Bambuti, indigenous to the Congo rainforest. They have been pushed out of this forest, and aid organizations like the World Food Program will swoop in and act like they are saviors and hand out processed food, canned fish, and these kinds of things to these indigenous people who are accustomed to living off of their land, who are accustomed to fishing and eating fresh fish, eating green, leafy vegetables, tubers, and all these amazing, abundant things from the forest. Now they can't do that. And now companies are benefiting from these people's natural resources. And it is affecting all of us, right? Because of the push towards green energy. And we know there's nothing green or clean about the green energy revolution. So let's keep talking about Congo and the Congo rainforest and the Congo basin, because we know and we can see the effects of climate change right now in real time, right? So go to friendsofthecongo.org, search climate justice, support indigenous communities who are fighting to combat climate change and fighting for climate justice and fighting for their land and for their survival. Friendsofthecongo.org, search climate justice. Free Congo. Can you imagine the level of injustice, the level of humiliation, of despair? But also, can you imagine the level of moral courage that you would have to be prepared to lay down your life for the protection and preservation of your homeland, for the sovereignty of your homeland soil? These people know that the desecration of their land is a total loss of self, because they are the land and the land is them. And then these oil drillers, these oil drilling companies, these corporate imperialists, it's no longer the big brand names that we're used to, the Shell, BP, ExxonMobil. It's not them anymore, because they have faced too much scrutiny for too long. They have stepped back, and now smaller, lesser known oil companies are getting in on the action, especially in the DRC. This article goes on to say that a representative from the group Greenpeace is the one who told these villagers about the plans for drilling oil, how pipelines will be laid through their farmlands and their fishing villages. A representative from Greenpeace is the only one who told them. The level of disregard and arrogance that these companies have, we must stop them. Go to greenpeace.org, search DRC, and let's find out who these companies are. Let's find out and know as much as we can, because we have to stop this. We, the people, have to stop this. Free Congo. What does it mean when a Belgian prince owns the oldest national park in Africa? This is Prince Emmanuel de Merode, and he owns 3,000 square miles of Congolese land, of Congolese rainforest, in the name of Virunga National Park, in the name of conservation. What does it mean for the people there who used to live there, for the indigenous communities like the Batwa and the Bambuti of Congo? It means an annihilation. It means that these people who used to live in community with the land, in peaceful coexistence with the land, getting from it their food, their livelihood, their medicine, these people have to be removed. These people have to be expelled. These people have to be pushed out, so that people like Emmanuel de Merode and his paramilitary forces, as you see them there, lay siege on this land and take from it oil and gas and contribute to the capitalist machine and contribute to environmental destruction of Congo and its people. Before Emmanuel de Merode showed up, I promise you, for millennia, the people of this area lived in peaceful coexistence with the mountain gorillas and the elephants and all the living beings that are on that land. There's a little bit of hope, I guess. The DRC government is signing new indigenous peoples law, finally, but more needs to be done. More needs to be done because Virunga National Park right now is under siege. The survival of these people and the survival of the Congo Basin and the Congo rainforest is under threat because these things are in the hands of people like Emmanuel de Merode of Belgium. He is living in the footsteps of his predecessors, of his forefathers, like King Leopold II of Belgium. And now the people of Congo are in trouble. The government is trying to save face, but we need to do more. Go to freecongo.org. Put in the search engine climate justice, and let's try and do what we can to save this land and to protect its native people. Free Congo. Environmentalists everywhere, turn your eyes to Congo. The Congo Basin and the Congo rainforest are under threat. This is the second largest rainforest in the world after the Amazon. And we know that ecosystem, 20% of it has been destroyed, another 20% has been degraded. So what do we have left? We have the Congo Basin and the Congo rainforest. The Congo Basin, most of which is found in the DRC. This is under threat by corrupt, immoral, short-sighted governments and multinational companies who want to extract as much oil, gas, and timber from this region, not caring about the indigenous communities, the farmlands, the people who depend on the survival of this rainforest, and all of us as a human family. This is a very important natural carbon sink, because our oceans are the other natural carbon sinks, and those are under threat, as we know. And second to the Amazon, the Congo rainforest and the Congo Basin should be at the forefront of all of our minds if we want to live in a clean, carbon dioxide-free world. So let's pay attention, because the government of the DRC, right, wants to make sure that all these developments, including Virunga National Park, Africa's oldest national park, all of this stuff is up for auction for the extraction of oil and gas. We need to say no. Go to greenpeace.org and sign those petitions to stop this. You go to friendsofthecongo.org, look up, search climate justice, and you'll find ways to learn more and resources on how we can help communities on the ground to fight this and combat climate change. And this should be all of our business. Congo is very important, and its importance cannot be overstated. So please, let's learn together and let's take action together. Free Congo. Congo has the agricultural capacity to feed the entire African continent. Why? Because aside from it being the second largest country in Africa, it is also home to 50% of all of Africa's lakes and rivers. If you've seen pictures of Congo untouched, of Congo's land untouched, unspoiled by mining activity, you know that this is some of the most beautiful, fertile land there is. So why then in the same country are there 25 million people at risk of starvation? Congo faces the largest hunger crisis on the planet, with 25 million people at the risk of starvation. Why is that? Because of mining activity. These gigantic pits in the ground. This is what has become of Congo's farmland. This is what people have to work in instead of working in their farms to produce food for themselves. This is a man-made famine. This is a man-made hunger crisis. And in the meantime, the oppressors are all the same. Tesla deal could make US blacklisted Israeli billionaire richer. We've seen the barbarity of these people. You know why 25 million people in Congo are facing a hunger crisis right now? So that people can drive, have cars that drive themselves and wear $30 million on a necklace. This is who they are. Let's believe them, and we're better than them. No effort is too small. Go to freecongo.org. War in the Congo has kept the planet cooler. This racist, inflammatory, inaccurate bilge was put out by the Atlantic yesterday, in the middle of a genocide happening in Congo right now. The same people who manufacture, who engineer the climate crises are the same people who'll turn around and blame and scapegoat our indigenous communities. The very keepers and protectors of these rainforests will be blamed for the problems of the world. What is the obsession with African suffering? Right now, millions of people in eastern Congo are on the brink of death by starvation, while thousands upon thousands of square miles of arable land, of farmland, is being protected by neo-colonialist institutions like national parks. And this is happening all over the continent. Look at that headline. That's who they are. We are better, and we are many. And we can fight this because this is a fight against neocolonialism. Free Congo.
Ndio akakutana bale bajambazi na bakamuua kule. Maisha yangu ya mbele ya vita kwa tofauti, juu tulikuwa fa tunalima ile mashamba, tunaleta ile miogo na ile sombe tunakula. Lakini tangu vile bautu balingia mupori, hatupate tena gisi ya kwenda kushamba ya kuleta ile sombe, na njoo vitu tunakamatisha tu kazi ya kutwanga maiu. Juu tuone kama tutapata ile msaada ya kulisha watoto.
Glencore, an Anglo-Swiss mining company, mines Congo's cobalt, not to eat it, but to give it to tech giants like Apple, Google, Dell, Tesla, Microsoft. And so corporate responsibility must be put on the heads of those people, like Tim Cook and Elon Musk. They must be brought to justice. They must answer the question, why are Congo's rivers polluted by sulfuric acid waste and radioactive uranium? So that the fish are all dead, farmland is unusable, after they've evicted people from their homes to expand these mining territories. Now these people cannot live. Children are born with malformations inside their mother's wombs. Deformities because of this toxic air that they have to breathe day in, day out. So these people must be brought to justice. They have to answer why they're profiting off the pain and suffering of the Congolese. And we as the consumers have to ask ourselves that question and withdraw our support from these companies because they're doing nothing but destruction in Congo and advertising it to the rest of the world as though it is this pristine, clean thing. It is false and it's a scam and it needs to be stopped. Free Congo. Congo is the last defense against climate change, and I'll tell you why. It is because of the Congo Basin. The Congo Basin spans 6 African countries, but a majority of it is found in Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Congo Basin holds the Congo rainforest, that is the second largest tropical rainforest in the world after the Amazon. The Congo Basin is also home to the Congo River, the deepest river in the world and the second longest river in the world. The Congo Basin is vital to the regulation of the world's climate. It holds incredible biodiversity with unique tropical plants, bird and fish species, and because of this abundance of plant and animal life, it provides food security to over 70 million people across more than 100 ethnic groups. The basin is also home to endangered wildlife like forest elephants and the mountain and silverback gorillas. In 2017, a team of Congolese and British scientists discovered a peatland in the central Congo Basin. Peat is a special kind of soil formed through the buildup of partially decomposed organic matter that has sat in wetlands for over thousands of years. These peatlands deep in the Congo Basin cover about 50,000 square miles. This is roughly the size of England for scale. They are one of our planet's most important natural resource, these peatlands, and they must remain undisturbed. They store twice as much carbon as all of the world's forests combined. Unfortunately, the Congo Basin is continuously being destroyed through illegal logging by international timber firms. Oil and gas exploration is another major concern for the survival of this life-giving ecosystem. Also, its indigenous people like the Twa and the Mbuti have lost their homes and livelihoods and continue to be marginalized because of these activities. So you see, if you have clean air to breathe, it is because of Congo. It is because of the Congo Basin. The protection and survival of the Congo Basin is the protection and survival of all humanity. Please go to freecongo.org to learn more and to also make your contribution towards supporting the local communities here. Free Congo.
I mean, again, think about it. At least 6 million Congolese were killed. But King Leopold is not the archetype of evil that Adolf Hitler is. Between 3 to 4 million Indians were starved to death. But Winston Churchill isn't Hitler. Andrew Jackson, Thomas Jefferson, Ulysses S. Grant, all of them were genocidal killers. Napoleon Bonaparte in Haiti, in the Caribbean, in Algeria, and Charles de Gaulle in Algeria, none of those are Hitler. No, the fact of the matter is that Hitler was not unique. He was absolutely on par. He was on par for the course. I mean, if Hitler had not attacked the Anglo-Saxons, Europe and America would not have batted an eye at his atrocities. Because you've all done it. You've all done what he did. You've all done what Hitler did. Your pantheon of historical heroes and your pantheon of leaders from the past is nothing but a rogues gallery. And all of your official villains in history is just a mirror reflection of yourselves. Hitler's just a reflection of you, all of you. And I'm saying the global south, Africa especially, you know, they've dealt with you so moderately, they've dealt with you so patiently, they've dealt with you so generously, in such a civilized and a decent manner, because they are that way themselves. That's their nature. And because their fledgling decolonization efforts were undertaken at a time when they were still vulnerable. So they dealt with you as if you are normal people, as if you're like them. Even though they themselves had experienced your brutality and your savagery, they didn't want to be rough with you. They didn't want to be harsh with you. They wanted to try to maintain, you know, some degree of harmony and goodwill. But you're not a people who understand that. You're not a people who respect that. You're not a people who appreciate that. And I'm saying the global south needs to deal with you the way you really are. Now, I'm not talking about aggression. I'm not talking about violence. I'm just saying it seems to me that the global south needs to cut you out as much as possible. They need to cut you out because you can't be trusted. You can't be relied upon to ever be fair, to ever be mature, to ever be reasonable. Because you've got killer instincts. You know, it's like that story about the frog and the scorpion. You're always going to sting because that's just what you do. And it isn't intelligent to ever expect you to do otherwise. You know, like the frog giving that scorpion a ride across the river and the scorpion stings him. Except, you know, if it's that western scorpion, not only would they sting him, but they'd accuse the frog of trying to drown him. They'd say that the frog that they just stung was trying to drown them. They say that they were actually trying to carry the frog across the river. Not that he was riding on the back of the frog to get across the river. That's how the West does. I'm telling you, they can't help themselves. There's something wrong with them. You need to be as far away as possible. If you try to shake their hand, you're going to find yourself in handcuffs. Believe me. So you have to take a firm stance now. It's not like in the past. In the past, I know that taking a firm stance was a lot more dangerous. But today, their capacity to threaten you almost doesn't exceed their throats. You know, they can just say threatening things, hoping that you'll believe them and cower in fear, but it's mostly a bluff. They're depending on you reacting to your memory of what they used to be able to do to you, rather than upon any objective current evaluation of the real power dynamics that exist in 2025. I think you'll be surprised at how quickly they cave if you do take a firm stand with the West. Yeah, they'll say nasty things, you know, call you undemocratic or what have you, accuse you of this or that or the other. But it's all just noise. That's all just noise, and you shouldn't let it faze you. They're the biggest criminals in history. They're the biggest criminals in history, with the longest and most atrocious criminal record in history. They're not in any position whatsoever to moralize or to sermonize or to demonize anyone. So you have to make a decision in the global south, whether you're going to protect your people, protect your nation, protect your sovereignty, or placate the West. The West built a mansion with your money, and they turned it into a crack house. And if you let them into your house now, they'll do the same thing to yours.